esteemed guest. We have with us Shri Anil Gupta, General Secretary, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS Delhi. We extend a very warm welcome to Shri Gupta. May I request Shri Anil Gupta to please kindly join us on stage. I also take the pleasure of requesting Dr. Satya Tripathi, Secretary General, Global Alliance for Sustainable Planet, to please join us on stage, accompanied by Dr. Arvind Kumar, President, India Water Foundation. We also take the pleasure of welcoming on stage Mr. Sunny Pandya, Chief Advisor, National Strategy and State Leadership, India Water Foundation, Managing Director, Dian Group of Companies. So may I first request Dr. Satya Tripathi to kindly give his opening remarks and for setting up the context.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this session. We have the distinct pleasure of having Shri Anil Gupta, the General Secretary of RSS Delhi, and quite a few distinguished speakers who are joining us online. Unfortunately, the situation in the Middle East has had its impact on the travel of many of our esteemed speakers, so many of them are joining us online. Now, I just want to spend a few minutes on what we have heard throughout the day. A very distinct and diverse group of thought leaders from across the spectrum. On everything you can think about water, from conservation to financing to efficiency, to the politics of water, to how water is central to everything we do as humans, and above all, conservation itself. And in that, what we have heard is that we have heard how challenging it is now in terms of whether you think of water as a product of nature or as water as we humans understand it, is supplied water in terms of, and then a friend from Denmark very eloquently pointed out in a session that while if you take the case of Singapore, revenue water is the water you produce and you pump to be able to supply to the population. Singapore's revenue water is 95%. They're the most efficient in the world, actually. Our revenue water somewhere borders around 50%. So the water we actually clean and make it ready for human consumption, 50% of it is wasted, either through pumping cycles that are wrongly done because you're pumping water at a time when the population doesn't need it, so you're spending a lot on energy when you really don't need to do that, or the meters are not functioning well, or the taps are leaking, whatever the reasons, there are 1,000 reasons why it happens. I don't think anybody intentionally wastes water. Sometimes it's the economics of it, because you charge 10 rupees for a tap, and so there is no connection of what you charge and how much water is used. And then, of course, the economic distinction of water as a basic necessity for human existence is also lost on many of us, because a 5-star hotel potentially pays the same amount of money that a domestic user is paying. Of course, there's distinction between commercial and residential water, but it is not much. And then so people that can afford to pay more don't pay as much, and that creates more disparities. So I think, so in terms of looking at the global situation and where India is, I think we should spend a minute thinking about what India could do better, because we can focus a lot on the problems. We already know the problems. I think it's useful to focus a bit on the solutions. One example that I pointed out early on is something that Andhra Pradesh is doing, which is a shining example of what India is doing in Andhra Pradesh. And it all comes from, we have been involved in this for 9 years now, from 2017, when it was a small program, and I first went and met Shri Chandrababu Naidu, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. He was then the Chief Minister, then he lost power, and now he's back again. And so we went as a group of 15 leaders from different organizations of the world to tell him that what he's doing is extraordinary. And at that time, उस वक्त सिर्फ 10,000 किसान प्राकृतिक कृषि कर रहे थे. And then it has now grown to be the world's largest natural farming program, with 18 lakh farmers practicing natural farming, thanks to a whole lot of reasons, but I think primarily 3 that I can think of at a broader scale. First is the Prime Minister's strong support to the whole concept. There's Government of India has something called Prakritik Krishi Vikas Yojana, where state governments get money to implement natural farming. Then my organization did some research, which was published in 2020, how fertilizer subsidy is being avoided, because natural farming does not use any fertilizers or pesticides. So all that money is being saved. So we did research and we published it in partnership with Niti Aayog. At that time, Dr. Rajiv Kumar was the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, and he was very supportive of this. And then that research then led to the Government of India announcing something called the PM Pranam scheme, which is basically an incentive to state governments that if your fertilizer subsidy is less than the trailing average of the last 3 years, so 50% of that saving comes back to you as an incentive. And this year, Andhra Pradesh will get more than 100 crores, I think, as incentive. And the third was that as the numbers grew, the German Development Bank invested 210 million euros in the natural farming program. It's a loan. It's not a grant, it's a loan. They have also given a $20 million euro grant, with which the Indo-German Academy of Agroecology Excellence and Learning was set up. But the 210 million euro is an excellent example of how global partnerships work. So that money is given at only 0.45% interest, annual interest, simple interest. So in 10 years' time, Andhra Pradesh would only have to pay back 220 million euros. But in the meanwhile, in these 10 years, thanks to the numbers growing and the fertilizers and pesticides being avoided and the subsidy incentive being given by the central government to the state government, Andhra Pradesh will actually pay back all that money without having to spend a single rupee, because the savings will pay for itself. So I think that's the kind of partnerships that we need to look at when we are working with international partners, whether it is countries, whether it is multilateral organizations, whether it is development financial institutions or multilateral financial institutions, what are popularly known as MFIs and DFIs. So that's a win-win situation where you might get money at a highly concessional price, but the benefits that accrue from using that fund, those funds, can actually create the kind of situation where a country can transition from climate negative to climate positive. And I want to close by adding another example. We at the Global Alliance have a program called GREAT. It's called the Green Economy Accelerator for a Just Transition. And our goal is to get 10 crore people to become climate positive in the next 10 years through different programs that we have intervened in. And some of those examples are very low cost but high impact. I'll give you an example. If you have 3 or 4 animals in a household, in a cows or buffaloes or what you have, and with the animal waste, you can actually have a 2 cubic meter biodigester, which prevents firewood burning, because the biodigester produces enough gas for 6 to 7 hours of usage in a domestic gas stove. So we have already deployed this in 15,000 locations. And the families do not have to pay a single penny. Now you must be asking, okay, the government doesn't have to pay, the families don't have to pay, how does this work? Simple. So when you dump the cow dung in an open space, it emits methane. And the carbon dioxide equivalent of that methane is 6 tons per annum. That is 6 carbon credits. To deploy the biodigester, it costs only $400, including operational expenses, capital expenditure, all of it. The maintenance, the measuring, reporting and verification through the gas regulator, all of it. And the family then gets the gas for free. They get 70% of the carbon money for free. And they also get, each biodigester produces 15,000 kilos of biofertilizer in every year. So you can actually switch to natural farming by doing that. This is just one example. There are so many other such technologies possible. So what I would strongly urge for those of you in the audience who are imagining programs and projects, please look at the power of the carbon market. Because that's, and now the prices are at $20 a carbon credit, but the market is already paying $100, $150 for different kind of credits. If it is a biochar credit, it is already selling for $120 a credit. If it is a mangrove credit, it is already selling at $100 a credit. The EU ETS, the European compliance market, is already $1 trillion worth. So we in India, we need to really look at how do we leverage the power of the carbon market by building these global partnerships where you bring in the best of minds from all parts of the world, and mind you, there are thousands of those in India already. In many cases, we don't even have to go outside our borders to build these partnerships, but you can actually bring all of it together. And you know, poor people have more integrity than rich people. I always say this, for the simple reason that that's all they have. They don't have money. They have integrity. So if we work with poor people at the bottom of the pyramid and bring them the right kind of technology without they having to pay for it, they will literally change the world. And that will really put India at the forefront of the next economic transition from being a country that is high on ideas to being a country that is high on the economic agenda of the world as well. Thank you.
Our next speaker in this session is Shri Gupta. He is representing RSS, may I say, the real force behind the force. So let's hear it from the global leader, Shri Anil Gupta.
What you said? Real force behind?
Behind the force.
Behind the force. Thank you, Dr. Satya Tripathi, for the... Thank you, Dr. Satya Tripathi, for the opening remarks. My dear friends, brothers and sisters, it's really an honor to be amongst you on this very interesting topic with respect to ESG and the sustainable part of it. See, because I am by profession a practicing chartered accountant, so ESG is more to do with the corporate world, more to do with the listing, and more to do with the compliances. Today I'm not sitting here as a chartered accountant. I am sitting here representing what she said. I'm just unquoting. power, the word she used. So I am showing you a different picture of this ESG today, the environment, the society, and the governance. I will just take 4 or 5 minutes to put my views with respect to these three terms. In our country, the nature is mother. We call Prakriti Ma. The water is God for us. Varuno Devata. The air is God for us, Pavana Devata. But somehow, over the years of various attacks that took, unfortunately, our country by storm, all these facts got forbidden somewhere else. Even those who are living here, they also forgot it. So, the question that need to be asked with respect to this ESG is to the Western world. What they are doing at the moment in the Middle East and how it's contributing to the environment, that needs to be discussed and needs to be debated. We ourselves are doing much with respect to environment. I will come to it, what we are doing in Delhi with respect to environment. Few very successful case studies we have, I will come to it. The second part is society. See, we are students of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. We never discriminate. When we gave yoga to this world, we never said yoga is only for Hindus and not for Muslims or Christians. Yoga is for everyone. When the International Yoga Day comes on 21st of June every year, there are 195 countries who are the members of UNO. And out of those 195 countries, 177 countries celebrate Yoga Day. And those countries include those population also who wear burqa, who wear skull cap, who wear the cross mark. We never discriminate. So that's our contribution to the society. Now let me come to the governance. Today I'm giving you two very interesting examples with respect to the governance. The first book of this world can be, whatever I'm saying, maybe some of you agree or may not agree. That's what my knowledge is. I'm just sharing it with you. The first book is written by Bhagwan Valmiki. He wrote Ramayana. I am not taking you to that book. In that Ramayana, there is a chapter called Ayodhya Kand. Those of you who have read Ramayana or Ramcharitmanas by Tulsidas, they must be aware of Ayodhya Kand. So the incident is that Rama has left Ayodhya for forest for 14 years. So he reaches the forest. Bharat comes back to Ayodhya. He comes to know. Then he goes to Rama, to Bhagwan Ram, to request him to come back to Ayodhya. So that's the scene. Now just see what's happening in that scene. So he bows before Bhagwan Ram. In that's the 101st chapter of this volume called Ayodhya Kand. So 74 questions have been asked by Bhagwan Ram from Bharat. All those 74 questions relate to governance. Defense policy, he asked the question. External affairs, he asked the questions. Environment policy, he asked the question. Education policy, women protection policy. I am just translating it to English. Those of you who are sitting here, if they don't agree to what I am saying, just Google. Those of you who are having Ramayana at their home, they can go and see the 101st Sarga of Ayodhya Kand, and those of who are not having Ramayana, they can search it on Google. So all those 74 questions relate to governance. That's first part of it. The second is more important. We have heard of Chhatrapati Shivaji. So the picture that we have been given with respect to Shivaji is that he is a man with sword and who fought the Mughals. That is there. That's a fact. But the governance system of Shivaji, the economic policies of Shivaji, those are on record. His industrial policy, his defense policy, his naval policy, his policy with respect to the shipyard, his policy with respect to the international trade, all those policies are on paper. And beautiful governance system he has given. Today's 7 states, starting from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, then Karnataka, all these were governed by Shivaji. From 1674 to 1680, he was the king. And his governance, the coin, I am just giving you one example. Otherwise, you should read what he did for Navy and what he did for shipyard and the ship industry. Let me give you 2 examples with respect to Shivaji. You see, last year, I am forgetting the name of that port which was opened in Kerala by the present government. It's a very interesting port. The India was suitable only for small ships. So whenever our corporate people, they used to import something from out of the world, and it was a very big ship in which they were having their goods. So that particular ship has first to go to Singapore. From there, the goods have to be unloaded and shifted to smaller ships. Why? Because in India, we were not having shipyard for larger, big ships. Only last year, our country had the privilege of having the biggest shipyard of Asia in Kerala, and that's how this shipping the business got easy and the cost got reduced. This particular policy was followed by Shivaji also. The shipyards that he has built, there are 7 shipyards which are still there. If you start from Gujarat, then you go to Maharashtra, then you go to Karnataka, then you go to Kerala, all this coastal belt, the Shivaji was having the shipyard. Second, the coin that Shivaji launched, it was such a popular coin that when the British came in 1858, they promulgated the Government of India Act. So they withdrew the coins. And to their surprise, they found that 86,000 coins were still prevailing in 1880 when the British were governing this country. So that was the minting system that Shivaji started. So my request with respect to the society and the governance, that we need to remember what our rishis, what our social scientists did for this world. We should not forget it. Then this ESG can become very easy. Now let me come to the last point, what we are doing in Delhi with respect to for environment. We have started 5 examples, which we started 5 years back. Number 1, some of the barren lands we have selected, absolutely barren. And our workers, with the help of the RWAs and society, one of the land is in Rohini sector 24, that we have made green land absolutely, full of plants, full of trees. So 5 such barren lands we have got converted to green lands. That's the first point. Second, in Delhi, around 7 years back, we launched the first project, we means RSS, launched the first project of dense forest in Delhi, in Shraddhanand College. Dense forest is a very beautiful concept with respect to the sustainability of the environment, because the oxygen that you get from one tree and oxygen that you get from 100 trees which are just adjacent to each other without there being any gap, that oxygen flow increases. So already we are having a dense forest in Shraddhanand College, and 2 more dense forests we have started in Delhi. Then the ponds, that ponds which have forgotten, वो जिसको पानी का जो तालाब होता था, उस तालाब को जो भूल गया संसार, तो 13 such ponds we have revived in Delhi itself. Recently, only today morning, I had a meeting. We have drawn a SOP for 5 segments of the society. One is college, other are markets, third is society, the temples, and fourth is the RWS. And in those SOP, we have given them the steps how to make their colony zero waste colony. And I am pleased to share with you that in Delhi we are already having 2 colonies which are zero waste colonies. There is no waste in that. One is near Saket, that's called Manapur colony, flats. And other is in east of Delhi, the Kashyap apartments. So those two colonies have already become zero waste. So in this is our centenary year of RSS. So we have started 5 transformations, Panch Parivartan. And out of those 5 transformations, 1 transformation is protection of environment. And with respect to protection of environment, we are doing a lot to save the water, to save the air, to save the Mother Earth. So I am so thankful for providing this opportunity to share my views, the society's views with respect to ESG. And I know ESG is a very technical and complex topic, but I diverted a little bit, and I took the privilege to give you the other side of what the society is doing with respect to ESG. I am so thankful for this honor.
Thank you, sir. And we do have a number of speakers who are joining us online. So if Mr. Pandya is okay with that, can we check if any of them is available online, or would you like to take the opportunity first? So let me quickly check with the backend team if we can see online if Dr. Eric Tardieu is with us. So a very warm welcome to Dr. Eric Tardieu, Director General, International Office of Water, Secretary General, International Network of Basin Organization, Vice President, World Water Council. Very good afternoon and a very warm welcome. It's about 5:25 here in India, so we welcome you, and may I request you to please share your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, and especially my dear colleague, President Arvind Kumar, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this opportunity to be part of this global leaders dialogue. I would like to say how much I regret not to be in person among you, but as has been mentioned before, different circumstances did not make it possible. But still, thank you indeed for this opportunity to address you today. Global Leaders Dialogue, I'm not sure that I can be counted among global leaders, but for sure I am promoting and practicing dialogue. The climate crisis is not a distant threat, as we all know. It is reshaping our lives, our rivers, our economies, and our communities right now. But our response remains fragmented. Water is managed in silos, agriculture versus industry, and upstream versus downstream, humans versus nature. But water is central, as His Excellency Dr. Tripathi reminded us about at the very beginning of this session. So the climate crisis is not just an environmental issue, of course. It is a business risk, because water is a linchpin of global commerce and human activities, but companies and governments, local governments, still underestimate its critical role. With my perspective of the international network of basin organizations, we've spent over 30 years proving that integration at the basin level is not an option. It is the foundation of water security, resilience, and corporate sustainability. And so today, I would like to show how basin-level integrated water resources management can align economic prosperity with ecological health, and why the private sector must be a partner in this transformation towards more integrated approaches. Integrated at the basin level and IWRM is a business imperative, we believe. Water is a material risk, and one recent report on the future water agenda from GlobeScan and WWF revealed or confirmed that 72% of businesses in the world now recognize water scarcity as a top risk to their operations. But only 30% of them have comprehensive water management strategies. So this gap is a call to action. And INBO's core principle can help to address that, like conjunctive management of water resources, because businesses depend on stable, predictable water supplies, and of course, everyday life of all the people too. And in many basin committees, agricultural and industrial players collaborate to ensure shared water security. And it is usually a core role of basin organizations to organize this intersectoral dialogue. Second principle, long-term planning. More and more companies are now integrating basin-level risks, water risks, into their ESG frameworks. And not only multinationals, but also SMEs. Stakeholder inclusion is a very important principle, and businesses must sit more at the table. It is in all of these previous activities, we call as INBO for more involvement of the private sector in the basin level governance bodies alongside the leadership of the public authorities. And last but not least, shared monitoring networks and shared water information systems, where also private sector data can fill critical gaps in water resources management. And it is really important to build, to design, and to implement water information systems that include data not only on water resources, but also on water uses. And that is why corporate data can play a very important role. Trust through transparency, and platforms exist, like in France, the SANDRE, or in Brazil, the ANA, the National Water Authority, the ANA system. They now include the data from the private sectors because the investors also demand it. We know that we have now new technologies like satellite technologies, AI-driven water monitoring systems, and this new availability can reduce costs and conflicts. And INBO, for example, is part of the One Water Vision initiative, aiming at promoting the implementation of these new satellite images in order to improve water resources management. More generally, at the level of governance structures, a business can act as a catalyst for action. They have to be part of the conversation. They have to get involved more. Financing issues, of course, are key. And we know that private investments in water infrastructures can leverage public funding in many cases. We know also that innovation is a key, and companies can use IWRM principles in order to design circular water systems in their supply chains. Policy advocacy, of course, is an important role, and businesses, I believe, can push for stronger basin governance and better water governance at all levels, keeping in mind that valuing water is an economic asset. So I would like to conclude maybe for a call to more involvement from the companies, from the private sector, as part of their ESG commitment, because we have very important global frameworks at the UN level, for example, the 2030 agenda, of course, but there is also a business imperative for the everyday operations. And so maybe we should reinforce this idea to adopt a basin perspective, because 60% or even more, I believe, of water risks are shared. This is one of the numbers of the Global Scan WWF report I already mentioned. And I hope we can count more on on private sector to empower basin organizations with the private sector's expertise, funding, and also active participation. And as a last sentence, if you want to continue this conversation with basin organization and with INBO, I wanted to invite you all to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro. From 15th to 19th of June, we will organize our next INBO World Basin Summit focused on cooperative basin governance for water security. And we will address water information systems, adaptation to climate change, circular economy, water and biodiversity policies, and I'm sure that our Indian partners and companies can be part very fruitfully of this global conversation. Thank you again for the invitation. Very honored to be part of your high-level event. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Tardieu, and wishing you all the best for the forthcoming convention. May it be very successful and more. So I now request Mr. Marco Arceri, President ICID. If you are online with us, may I request you to kindly address the gathering here. Am I audible, Mr. Arceri? We move on to Mr. Alex Simalabwi, Executive Secretary and CEO, Global Water Partnership. If you can hear me, am I audible?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. May I request for the volume to be brought up, please? Volume.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank you. You're very much audible. Please carry on.
Thank you so much. And let me first of all start by acknowledging distinguished delegates that are here and speakers, the former Union Minister, Dr. Harsh Madam, our distinguished moderator, Dr. Satya Tripathi, Secretary General of the Global Alliance for Planet, Dr. Tardieu, Director General of the International Office for Water, Ms. Ulrike Kelm, Deputy Executive Director of the International Water Resources Association, as well as Mr. Pachauri, Director and co-founder of the POP movement. And I also want to acknowledge our colleagues from the Global Water Partnership, our chair for GWP South Asia, Dr. Pandya, who is also following, as well as our regional coordinator, who is also online, and also Dr. Vina Kanduri, one of the organizers of this event. Excellencies, distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for the Global Water Partnership to join this Global Water Dialogue, and I would like to commend the India Water Foundation and all partners for convening this important discussion on the water, energy, health, environmental nexus. India has long understood a profound truth reflected in its ancient wisdom. Water is life, but water is also development, stability, and cooperation. Today, as climate pressures intensify across the world, and we've heard this over and over in this conference, wisdom is more relevant than ever. Because water is the thread that connects every major challenge facing humanity today, whether it's climate change, food security, energy transitions, ecosystem protection, and human health. And yet, despite the central role, as we all know, water remains one of the most underinvested and under-coordinated sectors in global development today. On behalf of the Global Water Partnership Organization and our partners around the world, allow me to begin with three numbers that we all know to frame the urgency of our discussion. Today, over more than 2 billion people lack access to safe water services. Nearly 3.6 billion people experience water scarcity for at least 1 month each year, according to the United Nations Water. And global demand for water is projected to increase by 30% by 2050 as populations grow and economies expand. Yet, despite the central role of water in economic stability and human well-being, the world faces the global investment gap exceeding over $140 billion annually by 2030. This number tells us something very, very important. The global water challenge cannot be solved through isolated sectoral approaches, because water connects energy production, agriculture, ecosystems, public health, and resilience. And this means that the solutions must also be integrated across sectors and institutions, as being promoted already by this conference. For nearly 3 decades, the Global Water Partnership has been advancing precisely this type of integrated thinking through an approach that has come to be known as Integrated Water Resources Management, IWRM, and a global network of multi-sectoral partners covering the entire water value chain, operating across more than 180 countries, including in India. Across the regions, we have seen the Nexus approach move from concept to implementation. And let me just give a few examples. In South Asia, the GWP network has supported governments in India, Nepal, Bangladesh to strengthen climate resilience water management through initiatives such as the Integrated Drought Management Program that we implement, that is nearly 20 years now, with the World Meteorological Organization, WMO. In Nepal, integrated planning processes have helped align hydropower development, irrigation expansion, as well as watershed protection, strengthening both livelihoods at the local level and energy security. If we move further to the global south, in Latin America and the Caribbean, the GWP network supported governments across Brazil, Peru, Guatemala to strengthen coordination between water management, agriculture development, and energy planning, working with government authorities. For example, at a basin level in Peru, in the Chira Basin, integrated watershed management approaches have helped to align irrigation development with ecosystem protection, as well as agricultural productivity, benefiting thousands of smallholder farmers. And in Brazil, cooperation between water authorities and energy planners helped improve coordination between water management and hydropower generation in major rivers. Allow me also to highlight one more concrete example from Southern Africa, where the Global Water Partnership has been working closely with 14 Southern African country states. Through the SADC Water Energy Food Nexus project, implemented in partnership with the European Union, governments across the region strengthened coordination between water, energy, and agriculture in a program that started around 2018 until 2024. One key outcome of this collaborative initiative was the development of a regional Nexus screening tool. Most policymakers evaluate infrastructure investments, water availability, energy production, agriculture productivity, and ecosystems, and how these sectors are interdependent. Using this tool, multi-stakeholder dialogue processes across 14 countries, including Zambia, Botswana, and Namibia, identified more than 15 integrated welfare investment opportunities that recognize the water, energy, food nexus and environment. These include multi-purpose water storage systems supporting irrigation, pressed on hydropower generation, renewable energy powered soil water supply and irrigation for communities, as well as watershed restoration initiatives. This work that I'm illustrating here also contributed to what has come to be known as the SADC Regional Water Energy Food Nexus Governance Framework, endorsed at the highest level 14 governments by ministers responsible for water and ministers responsible for energy. This example, ladies and gentlemen, illustrates and demonstrates one powerful lesson. When governments move beyond fragmented sectoral planning, they unlock solutions that are economically efficient, environmentally sustainable, and socially inclusive. We've also seen similar impacts and progress in the Mediterranean region, Southern Europe. Just last week, in the Mediterranean region, a breakthrough was noted at the Regional Conference for Water, Energy, Food Nexus that took place from 24 to 26 February in Cyprus. Organized by our regional network called the Global Water Partnership Mediterranean, in partnership with the European Union, the gathering brought together stakeholders across the Mediterranean to advance the Wave Nexus approach, firmly anchored in what is called the Nicosia Declaration. The Nicosia Declaration was signed in 2015 between Cyprus, Greece, and Egypt to boost economic and political cooperation, particularly regarding energy, natural gas, regional stability in the Eastern Mediterranean. From financing and governance to digital transformation, climate resiliency, desalination, wastewater use, and source-to-sea approaches, everyone agreed that integration is no longer an option. And the message from this gathering 2 weeks ago was very clear. 3 messages. Number 1, evidence must drive policy on nexus, including scientific analysis. Must be empowered to implement development. Citizens must be engaged as part of the solution, known as the Africa Water Investment Summit. And this summit mobilized over 10 to 12 billion water investments. And as I conclude, the summit also mobilized and catalyzed what has come to be known as the Global Water Investment Platform, a G20 presidential legacy initiative designed to mobilize and de-risk investments at scale. This, gentlemen, we're also witnessing an important shift, and this is my last point, in global water leadership. Increasingly, solutions to the global challenges are emerging from the global south. Last month, on the margins of the African Union Heads of Summit, His Excellency Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of the Republic of Namibia, welcomed the relocation of the global water headquarters for the Global Water Partnership from Sweden to the global south to establish what is becoming to be known as the world's first global south anchored intergovernmental organization focused on water cooperation on water investments. The future of global cooperation will increasingly be shaped not only by solutions from the global north, but by global leadership from the global south. India has already demonstrated global leadership in advancing large-scale programs on access to water and sanitation, including championing South-South cooperation. In this spirit, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to finally invite the India Water Foundation, together with the conveners of this forum and partners gathered here today, to join the global transformation agenda championed by the Global Water Partnership as part of this world's first emerging global south-anchored intergovernmental organization. Allow me to conclude with 2 reflections. Number 1, if water connects, then water cooperation and investments must connect everyone. And finally, if the 20th century was defined by competition for natural resources, the 21st century must be defined by investments in water and cooperation for sustainable water security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Simalabwi, for joining us on stage and sharing your thoughts with us online. Next, our speaker is Ms. Ulrike Kelm. A very warm welcome back again, Ms. Kelm. She is Deputy Executive Director, International Water Resources Association. It's over to you.
Thank you very much for this nice introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me to this actually 3rd speaking engagement today. So I hope I don't repeat myself too much when speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues, dear fellow speakers, it's a great honor to address to you today on behalf of the International Water Resources Association. My name is Ulrike Kelm, and I am the association's Deputy Executive Director. I would like to again thank a lot to the organizers of this conference, especially the India Water Foundation, for bringing us together here in New Delhi. I very much regret not being here in person with you, but only remotely. I had truly hoped to join you, but because this conference brings together an extraordinary community of people working at the forefront of water sustainability and human well-being. But unfortunately, I can only participate remotely. In this plenary session of global leaders, it brought me a lot of thoughts about connecting what we said earlier today and listening now to my fellow speakers. I would really like to highlight one point I read when preparing for the sessions, what I read about the objective of this session. It is about tackling greenwashing. And I'd really like to reflect a little bit on this here together with you. Greenwashing has really become one of the major challenges in sustainability transition. As environment and climate governments grow, so does the risk of misleading claims. Across sectors, including water management, companies, institutions, and even governments, sometimes present initiatives as green or sustainable without the evidence to support these statements. This is where regulation plays a critical role in safeguarding credibility and ensuring real impact. First, regulation can establish clear definitions for environmental claims. Terms such as sustainable water management or climate resilient infrastructure or nature-based solutions are often used without precise meaning. So when regulation defines these terms based on measurable and scientific criteria, it removes the vague element out of it. It allows us to misleading claims to abandon the scene, let's call it like this. Second, regulation can require evidence and independent verification. Environmental claims should not rely on self-assessment alone. Water utilities, infrastructure project, and other organizations should sustain their claims with database and, where possible, with third-party verification. This builds trust among communities, regulators, and investors. And third, regulation must include effective enforcement mechanism. Rules without consequences are not enough. We heard it earlier today, the fellow speaker spoke about incentives. Incentives are really important to engage in green and help reduce greenwashing. Fourth, regulation can strengthen transparency through standardized reporting. When organizations disclose water management, performing using comparable indicators and reporting frameworks, it becomes easier to distinguish genuine sustainability progress from marketing narratives and pure communication PR. And finally, regulation should empower stakeholders. Guidance for companies, clear labeling systems, and better consumer or user and community information ensure that environmental claims are meaningful, understandable, and trustworthy. In water management, this all matters profoundly. Water projects, infrastructure investments, and nature-based solutions are increasingly presented as sustainable. But without clear standards, without transparency and accountability, these claims risk to be very superficial. So effective regulation ensures that sustainability claims reflect a real environmental and societal performance, not just communication strategies. Combating greenwashing is not about limiting ambition. It is about protecting the credibility of sustainability efforts, and it ensures that action in water management and beyond is recognized and rewarded. We can count it. It makes the results become tangible. Thank you. This is my contribution for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kelm, for joining us in this session and sharing your thoughts with us. I now take the pleasure of requesting Mr. Sunny Pandya, Chief Advisor, National Strategy and State Leadership, India Water Foundation, and also the Managing Director, Dian Group of Companies, to share his thoughts.
Thank you. And first of all, apologize for being a little late. Khana bahut zyada acha tha, shirt kharab ho gaya, so I had to change. Good evening, everyone. I heard from Eric, I heard from, I think, Klimlan. all our partners, and we were talking about sustainability, environment, how sustainable the solutions are. And I'm very proud to say that today our country, India, has already started implementing it. And we have been working on this side to implement technology in a way of how do we save our resources. The first project, which was also talked much about at the global AI impact, was an implementation on Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board, where yearly they have started saving 40 crore rupees of energy and other bills apart from the water sustainability, what they are understanding. Simple things were to integrate energy, water, energy of anything, water, have technology, get a chance, and then with the current leadership, we are quite able to implement these things. I mean, I'll just tell you a simple example of a pump set which was 97 lakhs of cost. The energy bill was about 50 lakhs yearly. So the design, it was not working as per design. So if not working as per design, it was taking more energy, it was using more water, the thermodynamics were not working, whether the first pump is to work on, the second is working on, and the third is. Second is where we have integrated technology, and each machine, which is again I'm coming to about sewerage networks. The first of its kind is in Gujarat, where they have integrated all 156 Nagar Palikas and started doing preventive maintenance and have given projects on PPP model. Now when I say this, the normal way of cleaning these sewerage networks were the latest technology, which we call as a super sucker, where there was a jetting pump, there was a freshwater tank, there was a dump tank, and then there was another suction tank. So 4 of the vehicles used to go. Fresh water was used to clean these sewerage networks. So either they were going into the STP or into the river. So we understood this as a problem. We are able to implement 125 machines of these right now in Delhi Jal Board, in 156 Nagar Palikas, but centralized in Mumbai, Mahanagar Palika. What we do is we first do the suction, and it is integrated into one machine. We move the sludge aside, we reuse that water and do the jetting. Each machine is saving 2 to 2.5 crore liters of water yearly. Each machine I'm talking about. These are very simple things which we've started implementing. We've started doing grain to ethanol. The blending is going on. I think India is well ahead of its schedule in manufacturing of ethanol. India target about 1200 crore of liters of ethanol yearly, but now they've reached about 1500 to 1600 crore liters. So India's taken it very seriously, and we are the examples of where we have implemented this, but yes, we have got technologies from around the world. We've got a chance again in BMC, where we have implemented it across sewerage operation department, and the center of excellence is being created over there. So India is well ready. India is ready to take new things ahead, and so I think sustainability with environment, with social, these may be sounding big words, but these are very little things. We were into logistics. I'm running a truck only. but I'm doing saving water. We were we were putting pipelines, but we knew what we used to do to get our contract completed. Now we have come back and saying, let's give back to the society how to not let it happen with the technology. The numbers are phenomenal, where the energy bill, sir, is saved about 60%. Coal, thermal energy, I mean, backward looking emissions which are being handled with 5 trucks going, 1 truck being handled, that water which is being used is being handled is phenomenal. So I think we are right there at the right place. We have a huge water requirement. From ancient times we are taught that the first thing what we offer to the guest is water, and in our culture we love water and we always will. That's how we have grown up. That's what I would like to say. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pandya. We now invite our online speaker, Mr. Ash Pachauri, co-founder and director, POP Movement. I request the team to please connect us. Is he there online? Okay, I don't think so. I think the connection has been interrupted. So that does bring us to the end of this session. So if we don't have any of the online speakers, the one left, can we check once again maybe? Okay, no one. Right. We'd like to thank our online speakers also. Thank you both for joining us, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us online. And meanwhile, we take the pleasure of concluding this session right here. But before we say thanks to everybody, may I request Dr. Tripathi to give his concluding remarks.
Well, I think I don't need to add to the amazing words of wisdom we've heard this afternoon from a set of very distinguished speakers from across the planet. I would like to congratulate Dr. Kumar for bringing us all together, and I want to leave you with this thought. You know, every time you pick up a bottle of water or a glass of water, we think this is clean and we are drinking it. It's only us who has been in touch with this bottle of water. Every bit of air you breathe has gone through somebody's body and come out. That's how connected we are. Everything you breathe, in this room, outside, anywhere in the planet, rich people, poor people, it's all gone through somebody and come out, and then we are breathing it and we are exhaling. It goes to, that's how, when you say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that's what it means. The world is one family. Same with water. It's gone through the body of every living creature. Every drop of water you consume has gone through somebody, then come out, and Mother Nature purifies it for us so that we don't fall sick. So that's what water is. There's no better example to put it across as to how significant it is to our existence, and how it makes us all one family, and how we need to respect water so that we leave it for our future generations in the same way we received it from the generations past. Thank you.
Thank you for concluding it with such a beautiful and noble thought. I now request Dr. Arvind Kumar to please do us the honors of presenting mementos for this session as a token of our appreciation and thanks. We start by thanking Shri Anil Gupta. We express our thanks to Mr. Sunny Pandya. We also take the pleasure of thanking Dr. Satya Tripathi for chairing this session as well. I request you all to please join us front and center for a group photo op. And we are delighted to share with you all, ladies and gentlemen, that after this we have another session which will be graced by Shri Om Birla, the Honorable Speaker Lok Sabha. He will also be presenting the awards.